Go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 4 o'clock and hear the bells ringing. Thank you everybody for coming out this afternoon. First item on the agenda is the invocation. Gary Cochran, do you mind leading?
Sure, you have to. Join with me in prayer, please. Father God, we pause in our day. Many busy things that we think we're busy about, but we come here today to focus on the city and ask for your guidance and leadership. Help us to do our job in a wise and compassionate manner. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Gary. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to 2A, which is the monthly financials for January 2016.
Good afternoon. On page 6 of your agenda is the operating fund for the EIC. You had opening cash of $3,963,561 with income of $256,921 with expenditures of $229,121, leaving you an ending balance of $3,991,362. On the following page is the detail of your budget and year-to-date balances and transactions. On page 8 is your year-to-date sales tax revenue analysis. And you'll see we're staying just right on, pretty much on target for the budget. On page 9 is your capital projects fund. You had an opening balance of $1,621,472 with income of $108,500. Expenditures of $872,906, leaving you an ending balance of $857,066. Page 10 is the detailed breakout of the projects that y'all have funded and the year-to-date expenses with the project balances. At the bottom of the page is the running balance of EIC-supported river trail expenditures. The following page on cash and investments shows the placements of where your funds are and the interest that it earned for the month. Anything else?
Anybody have any questions? Thanks, Heather. Thank you. Item 2B's projects update, River Trail, Cailloux Theater, Sport Facility, and the Sports Complex. Brian?
On page 14 is the monthly project update. Cailloux campus facility will have it's substantially complete on Wednesday. We'll go through the final punch list, and that's pretty much finish up that project. On the River Trail crossing, we're about 85% complete on that crossing. They poured 160 feet of trail between the Riverside Nature Center and the trail, and they're working on the landing up by the large oak tree today.
So is that oak tree the one that they referred to as the 400-year-old?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I noticed it was corn,
Yes, we have it
protected. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
On the athletic sports complex, the Cailloux Foundation is actually engaged in rough grading that property. And so you see a lot of the dirt work that's been going on out there. They're actually cutting the area where the baseball part of that project is, and you'll see them filling where the soccer portion of that project is. They're doing that on the Cailloux nickel as a privately funded project. In addition to that, you've seen them working on the roadway enhancements or extensions coming off. Again, that's their private dollars on their private property. Those are excluded from what the city will fund as the city portion of the project. They've also provided to us the engineering and all the technical documents and the bid specifications for that project as well. We received an entire set of those plans and bid specifications to us last Friday. We are in the process of doing a final review for final modifications. The plan is to have that project ready to go out to bid at the end of February with bid tabs ready for city council consideration by the second meeting of April. So that project's moving forward. K-Pub's actually stepped up in providing the underground utilities coming through there. In addition, the foundation is also at its own cost providing for the original rough cuts and extensions of the on-site electrical conduit that is coming through that site. So Our project ultimately will be everything from rough grade above, up top. So finished grade, buildings, fencing, ball fields, all those things are things that will be included. So that's a big portion of that project. It's actually been taken off, and it's being done through private donations and private dollars. So anyway, that's what we're on track to do. The construction timeline has us ready for full play and competition at that facility, probably towards spring of 2017. So fully sodded, fully ready to go, and fully ready to play for sports. In addition to that, we executed an agreement with Peter Lewis Architects to construct the indoor athletic building. So that building includes the batting cages, and includes all the service components that were there. There also is a flex space, indoor space with that. It's being sized large enough to be able to accommodate t-ball inside, to accommodate indoor training, but it's also able to accommodate a mixture of other uses that would be out there, camps, other types of things. So that, again, design contract was executed, so within the next probably 6 months or so, we'll have a final design that City Council will look at, and then we'll be ready to execute. The plan would be able to have that building constructed and ready to open in the fall of 2017. So the ball field will open, you'll see activity out there, and we'll finish the construction for that indoor facility, and that'll be open towards the end of 2017. So we're still on schedule to make those things happen.
Todd, when does the DBAT franchise contract begin?
It will begin once that building is ready for occupancy. So we've negotiated terms with BTP Joint Ventures. That's the actual ownership group that is bringing the DBAT franchise to Kerrville. And so that lease document has been executed, and they're involved in the design process as we're getting that.
And so will the city staff then manage the project from the standpoint of usage between the time it opens and the time the indoor facility is ready to go?
Yes, the city will be really managing the use of the facility up until that time that DBAT is there, BTB is there and ready to assume their lease in that facility.
And as a point of procedure for getting the construction started, once council approves a contract, approves a bid for a contract, does council have to come back to EIC to ask again for funds? I know that we're servicing the debt, but is there a procedure there whereby council must come back and make sure that it's okay with the EIC, or does the city just move ahead once the bid's approved?
That's a separate project, separate and apart from the balance of the athletic complex, and so that's.
No, I'm actually talking about the athletic complex itself.
No, the athletic complex is moving forward.
It's moving forward no matter
right.
what. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Item 3A is a discussion and possible action on the Airport Commerce Park.
Thank you. So what we're bringing to you today are the amendments for the Airport Commerce Park development. It's currently zoned PDD 01-23. When this property was originally annexed back in November 27, 2001, the zoning designation was assigned at that time. As I previously said, it's zoned PDD 01-23. There are certain development regulations and uses that are allowed in the planned development district. Usually with planned development districts are designed to be more flexible up front compared to a regular zoning district that you see generally in the city, where you don't have that flexibility at the beginning of the project. However, with the planned development district, the flexibility kind of goes away after it's adopted, meaning you can't act outside of the realm of the planned development district. So any kind of changes generally have to go before Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council. The purpose of why we're bringing this to you today is there was a development agreement made at that time in 2001 that included this planned development district in that development agreement. We wanted to bring forth the changes that we had. They've already brought this before you in October of 2015, and once again on November 12th, 2015. And these are kind of what we're proposing today are the more firm changes that we're going to be bringing forth before Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council. We'd like to go ahead and hear your insight and any comments you have, and if you agree to these changes today. The ordinance is broken down into 3 different sections. Section 3 is where we're going to be amending the ordinance, which talks about the zoning designation. As I previously said, before in the ordinance, it specified about 64 different uses, and they're very specific on the uses. The type of zoning that we're using now within the city allows interpretation code, broadens the uses. They want to be more consistent and coincide with the existing surrounding zoning of the area, which is E26. They have requested certain uses to be added in there, such as secondary education, universities to be allowed as a permitted use by right. In the packets that you received, you can see the new land use table that will be adopted as part of the ordinance. Along with the changes, part of it is the development regulations. They're very stringent development regulations that were placed in 2001 that made it very difficult to develop land. And for this reason, we make the land more developable. The ordinance is being amended to alleviate the majority of those regulations. They're leaving in certain requirements such as screening regulations on Highway 27, no driveways on access onto Highway 27, and that's pretty much what we have today. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those about any of the use regulations or any of the development changes. And kind of on the schedule, we have a plan for to go before Planning and Zoning Commission is March 3rd this year, and then City Council for the first reading, first public hearing on March 8th, 2016. And then the second reading will go before Council on March 22nd. And then after that is when we'll actually bring the approved ordinance back to EIC with the amended development agreement to you for your approval at that time as well. So that's it. Any questions?
So to get back to one of your closing statements, the land uses that are being proposed are similar to E26, or they mimic E26?
There are a couple land uses that have changed, such as in the E26 zoning district, it allows for new cars to be used and serviced. We're proposing to allow for used cars also to be sold and serviced if needed. Also to allow secondary education in private universities, which were not allowed in the E26 zoning district. Another use that we're requesting is to eliminate multifamily dwelling as one of the uses that are going to be eliminated in that zoning district. Staff feels that there won't be any, you won't see a significant change in the area, but it will allow for easier development, allow the property to be more developable and possibly more desirable to find. They have been trying to find people that develop on this land, and it has been very difficult, and that's the reason why they brought this before City Council back in August.
And so what you're asking for input on today just has to do specifically with the zoning, and assuming that we and P&Z and council approve the zoning change, then what does that do to the development agreement?
So what
That's
happens,
currently in
we'll
place.
actually make amendments to the development agreement. That's a contract between EIC, City Council, and the current property owners of the
So
subject property.
that's a separate issue?
Yes, sir. And we'll
Okay.
bring that later on after the land development district has been either amended back to you for final approval of the actual development agreement that would include the land development district. So this is strictly the zoning at this point.
Okay, so this has nothing to do, well, I mean, it does, but this does not affect the current development plan.
Not the development agreement, no, it doesn't. And part of the things that we are taking out, also they had various site requirements, such as the building had to be so many feet, and they actually had drawings, and it had to fit certain drawings, kind of a form-based code that if you are familiar with that, and we struck out all those requirements, so it would follow zoning code, current zoning code, subdivision ordinance requirements, and building code requirements.
Tran, if I could make one recommendation,
Yes, sir.
that before you bring it to P&Z and council, that you include a site map of the location
Absolutely is.
so that it'd be easier to visualize.
And that will have a site plan. According to when we send out notices, we'll create a site plan for the area. or a location map for the
Yeah.
area, showing what's surrounding it.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so just to be clear, so everybody understands, the planned development district zoning will still occur, I mean, will still persist under this scheme. We're just, we're mimicking E26 with a couple of amendments to the use, but it'll still be under planned development district because of the differences, right?
Yes, sir, and some of the development regulations will also be amended as well.
Okay, like what?
Once again, currently in the planned development district, it states out certain setbacks are required.
Right.
It states that you have to have a certain masonry on the
Mhm.
buildings. Certain buildings have to be built at a certain time with a certain percentage on the lot. And that got very difficult for developers to try to meet all those different requirements back when that was being done. And so we're eliminating that, so they have to follow the current subdivision ordinance as well as zoning code requirements, such as the current setbacks, which would be for any other property in the city.
And the adjacent property that Avery's is working on and Fox Tank and so forth, those are within E26?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the Avery is directly northwest of the subject property.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions? You need a vote of us to approve this, or?
If you agree with the regulations, would that be?
Yeah, I think, again, this is a final action, but just want to affirm that, that a vote would be fine.
Okay.
And, again, you'll be seeing this again as we, bring forward the development agreement. And this is referred to by reference in the development agreement, which is where you need to start here. And so yeah, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, if there's not any other questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the amendments to ordinance number 2001-23 as presented.
Okay, motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all those in favor, please lift your hand. Motion's unanimous. Thank you. 4A is a KEDC update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, this is our regularly quarterly update. In your packet, you'll see that we held our strategic planning session on January 7th of this year. We do this about every 18 months to kind of have quantifiable moving goals to keep us relevant and up to date with changing economic conditions, changing political conditions, keep KEDC on forward momentum and have quantifiable, foreseeable, achievable goals. Some of the outcomes from this most recent meeting were to hold a joint meeting or a forum with our stakeholders where we can openly discuss our objectives, goals, procedures, policies, and objectives. And we want that to be an inclusive process and to facilitate some dialogue with all of our stakeholders. There are a lot of moving parts to that. It looks that will be held sometime in mid-May, more than likely at Tybee High School. But we're starting to put that together, and we definitely want you guys to be a part of that, and we definitely value your feedback. This will be designed to be a discussion, dialogue, and the full KEDC board will be present at that meeting. Second, we want to hold a forum with major employers and local educational institutions to see if there's any shortcomings or any opportunities that we might be missing. And that looks to be held probably sooner rather than later. That'll probably be, we're working on several dates at the end of this month. And third was we are cognizant of the lack of inventory, that we have physical inventory as far as buildings. So we want to we're working at a staff level to put together a development plan and budget that we can then figure out how we're going to fund in the future. So that's just so that we'll actually have finite costs and plans on paper that we can then reference and see how we might be able to complete that. Below that, you'll see some of our active prospect updates. The third on that list is one that I'm very, very proud of. That's mentioned. That stemmed from a outreach by our just standard retention and expansion meetings, where we go out to a lot of local businesses and we discuss their needs and how they're doing, and obviously lots of other issues.
one of their things was they wanted to see if they were losing, if they could realize any cost savings. And so we arranged a meeting with K-Pub. They were very, very excited to be a part of this process, and they, on their own dime, conducted an energy audit and hired a consultant to come in. And the outcome of that report saw that they could realize some significant annual cost savings just by instituting some efficiency measures. The bottom three on those are really proactive outreach by KEDC, and these are working with national brokers. And we are on the short list of each one of these projects. And we hope that some of these will come to fruition. So we'll keep you guys updated on those. The second part of your packet are the full notes from the strategic planning session. And then third is the biannual reporting from Fox Tank Corporation. So you'll see that they are presently at 61 jobs, reporting on 1231. That is spread between both operations, and we are clarifying between which operations those are. Per the incentive agreements with you all, they should have 90 employees. They are up from 50 at the mid-year reporting. So, turn that to you guys. So definitely be open to any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Jonas? Thanks, Jonas.
Thank you.
Todd, do we have a need for executive session? So the last item on the agenda is executive session. If somebody would make a motion to that effect.
Make a motion to go to executive session under sections 551.071, 551.072. Those two good enough, Todd?
Yep. Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
A motion, a second. All those in favor, be uplifted hand. Motion is unanimous to go into executive session at 4:21. We'll reconvene at 4:44. No votes were taken in executive session. We don't have any other business, but Gary, you want to suggest something here for future?
Yeah, I do have an item that I think that we need to develop some kind of philosophy, policy towards maybe preservation of historic buildings around our area. So I want to at least bring it up and discuss it and see what the board thinks. So for future, for the next meeting.
Okay.
Would you mind running it by a little louder, please?
The next meeting, I would like to discuss either a possible policy or philosophy or something that this board might have regarding historic buildings in our area. So for next month.
Any other business? Seeing none, we'll adjourn at 4:45.